joining us today. We're really excited to have you here for our webinar virtually, Scaling AR and VR for Retail. I'm Du Nguyen, and I will be your moderator today. I am founder of ARQ and chair of the Retail Committee at the Virtual Reality Augmented Reality Association. We've got a special group of speakers lined up for us today who will tell us about their company and share their thoughts on AR and VR in retail. For those of you who are less familiar with VR AR, there are nearly 2 billion AR-capable mobile devices with an estimated 540 million active AR users by the end of the year. It is estimated that 36 billion in consumer spending will be influenced or aided by AR by 2024. So clearly, AR and VR will both have massive, profound impact on the future of retail. We'll dive into the presentation in a second, but first, I would love to have each one of our presenters give a brief introduction about themselves. Alan, if you wouldn't mind taking us off.
Certainly. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this amazing call, and thank you to Chris and everybody at the VRARA Association for hosting these amazing educational events. I learn as much from these as I bring value, so thank you very much. My name is Alan Smithson. I'm the CEO of MetaVRse, and we make a universal 3D creation platform that is easy to learn, easy to create, and easy to share. I'm looking forward to showing you some examples of what can be built on our platform.
Hi, I'm Matteo Esposito. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Matteo Esposito, I'm the CEO of Inversion. Inversion is an Italian company based in Milano, and we work on the retail with a software called Shutdown, which is a store and shopping experience simulator.
Thanks, Matteo. Ashley?
Hi, my name is Ashley Crowder. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ventana, and thank you everybody for joining us today. At Ventana, we've built a 3D first content management system that's all housed in the cloud and does automatic optimization and conversion. So the whole idea is we make it very easy for you to take your existing 3D design or 3D scan files and immediately create a shareable 3D web viewer with built-in AR for commerce. Everyone knows 3D helps increase online sales, which everyone needs right now for COVID. So excited to get into more ways you can start using 3D technology today.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. And unfortunately, Mike Festa from 3XR is delayed, so hopefully he'll be able to catch up with us soon. So a little bit about the VRARA Association. Our motto is Grow, Learn, and Connect. The VRARA Association is a global industry association for virtual reality and augmented reality designed to foster collaboration between companies that accelerate growth, foster research and education, and develops industry best practices and guidelines. We have over 4,000 organizations and 50,000 members across 70 chapters globally in just about every industry vertical. And I also want to announce our upcoming Global Summit, which is happening virtually September 30th through October 2nd. Please, if you're interested in becoming a speaker or sponsor or exhibitor, please visit the Global Summit website at vrarglobalsummit.com. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'd like to turn it over to Alan to tell a little bit more about MetaVRse. So Alan, why don't you kick us off?
Thank you so much. I'm going to start with a QR code. Being a universal creation platform, we want to be able to work on any device. So our platform will work on any operating system, any device, and any browser. So if you want to take your phone and point it at this QR code as we start here, you'll be able to experience on your own device, real time, all of the demonstrations that I'm going to show you today. So I'll leave that up for a few seconds here. And again, it's just a simple QR code. Our system kicks this out as part of our editor. And our editor, the MetaVRse Creation Platform, is completely web-based. Everything you see is web-based. So you should be able to scan that code and get right in there. So 3, 2, 1, moving on to the next slide. So my name is Alan Smithson, as I mentioned before, and my personal mission is to inspire and educate future leaders to think and act in a socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable way. I truly believe that without those three pillars, we as society will not live up to our full potential as a society, as a humanity. And so I really think it's important to think of those three as the three pillars of success for any business and any entrepreneur. So without getting too deep into it, the future of communications is these different technologies: 3D, virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, photogrammetry, 3D models, volumetric capture. You hear all of these things together: spatial computing, immersive computing. There's a bunch of names for it. It seems like everybody's kind of moving towards the simple way. They cop out of XR and to cover all of these things. And XR technologies have the ability to add $1.5 trillion to the global economy. To put that in perspective, the global GDP of the U.S. right now is about $20 trillion. So this is new value being added over the next 10 years. So our MetaVRse Engine was designed to really address some problems in the industry. Companies are starting to wake up to the value proposition. Retailers are saying, wow, this really does drive sales. It really does drive conversions. It really does drive customer sentiment. The problem is it's difficult to create value. The time to value is difficult because you have to send people for specialized skills. You have to hire specialized teams. And really creating these things is difficult. So what we did was we created an editor, an online engine that was easy to learn and easy to create and then easy to share. That's our whole ethos, is how do we get this into the hands of not just the developers of the world, but the marketers, the e-commerce people, the trainers even, and how do we get this in the hands of everyone so that we make it easy for everybody to create and learn. So this is a quote from Sakar Kaida from the XR Lab at Oracle. Building with MetaVRse is 3 times faster and 2 times simpler than building with Unity. We really went after that 90-10 rule of what are the 90% of things that people need right away. And of course, when you get to the certain point where you've outgrown our platform, then you can look at things like Unreal Engine and Unity. So without further ado, if you want to scan the QR code, I'm going to screen share quick here. And let me just make sure, got it. Okay, next. All right, and I should be able to see my screen in 3, 2, 1. Okay, you should be able to see this screen here. And what this is an example of something we've built on our 3D engine. So you'll notice that this is fully volumetric, and you'll see that what Ashley shows and what Matteo shows later. Creating these 3D assets and storing them is really one part of the equation, but animating them and really drawing your attention to feature sets that are maybe inside, or maybe they are something that you can't show on a website. Normally you'd be able to show this in person, for example. If I hit play here, a drill bit goes up, goes into the chuck. Now you can see it drilling. So these are types of animations that you just can't possibly do with a normal photograph. You can maybe do a video, but again, this allows you to have all sorts of creative freedoms over how to show your product in 3D from all different angles. Here's another example of a pair of sunglasses. You can see the real-time reflections reflecting off the building there. If I zoom in, you can really start to see them. But inside these glasses is not just a pair of glasses. These are the Bose frames, and inside, they actually have speakers. So being able to show people inside of something and teach them about why this is important. Why is it important that the speakers are put this way? You can really start to teach people about products in a totally unique and different way. All of these were built on our system all over the web. Everything is running on the web here. Here's a bathroom configurator. So the idea is that you have this configurator. You want to be able to go and change it to your own liking. I can change the sink. I can change colors. I can maybe go and change the bathtub. I'll put a soaker tub in there. You can start to give customers the ability to configure things, to learn about your product in totally different ways. And if you notice now, I can actually get right in there and I can say, oh, this is what my bathroom looks like. Now, if you'll notice, with the bathtub, there's also an AR button. if I was on a mobile device, I could click that AR button and see this tub minus all of the other stuff directly inside the AR experience. And with our system, it also carries, so if you make this bathtub red, for example, when you click AR, it will carry your decisions through to the AR experience as well. Here's another quick example, a surfboard. You can change its colors. You can start to create what we call fly-ins. So a little fly-in for maybe teaching people around about different parts of the product. And these are all done through our system using what we call JavaScript code snippets. And so here you have a couch configurator, and you can start to really, create your own couch. You say, oh, maybe I want two, maybe I want the chaise lounger, maybe some pillows. I'll zoom right in. And you can start to see, even down to the details of, the hardware that's attached to this. You can get really, really in-depth, beautiful, high-resolution images in 3D, all on our website real time. Here's a Nike shoe. You can start to collect data around this as well. So every time a customer clicks a different color, you can record this data in through any business intelligence tool. So you really can start to get a granular data around how your customers are using the product and what products they're interested in. And of course, the AR function is here as well. And here's a Mercedes-Benz. This is about 800,000 polygons. We suggest you stay under about 1 million polygons for the work that we do on our website. This is 800,000. It's running smooth. It'll run, on any device. You can create these configurations super easy on our system. Red, blue, green. You can start to create these configurations, and anybody can do this. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a JavaScript, developer. It is JavaScript. If you want to get in there and code, you have the full freedom of it, but you don't have to. And if you look inside here, you start to look in. You can even start to see reflections of that building again in here, but also you can start to see the wood grain, really, really detailed. So there you go. So that's a few samples of how the MetaVRse Engine is used, and I'm just going to show you quickly. If you want to sign up for the engine, let me just log out quick. It's engine.metaverse.com, and you can just simply create an account there. You can log in, and once you've logged in, load this up here. You can start to import projects and right away create instantly. And I'm just going to show you something really quick in the editor before I move on. So this is just a quick project that I did. I won't show you how I did the project. What I'm going to show you is the publish button. So here's a quick project. We made it so that when I hit preview, I can tap the button here and it changes the colors. That was just something simple we made. I can change the colors using the other button over here, which is the other 3D object. But if I wanted to publish this, I just simply hit publish. I hit publish, and it creates a QR code. It creates a web link, Android code, so I can build it into existing applications for iOS and Android, and it gives me a web code so I can embed it in my website. And that's how simple it is. I mean, obviously, there's some more work to be, work on this. I can show you lots of things later on, but again, this is really, really easy. It's the fastest, easiest way to do 3D on the web. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Alan. And I forgot to mention, if the audience has any questions, feel free to type it into the chat. If you have any questions for Alan or any of our upcoming speakers, feel free to type it in and we'll circle back to Alan if there any comes up. All right, love the detail there, Alan. Great presentation. Matteo, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So I'm the CEO and founder of Inversion. My name is Matteo Esposito. We work to transform an empty space into the most realistic retail experience. It is our mission. And why we are doing this? Because we found three main needs in the retail. The first need is about mock-up stores. Both brands and retailers need spaces like this to set up mock-up stores in order to train people, to present a new idea, or to negotiate trade marketing activities. The second need is about real store testing. So it's about collecting data from the shopping experience. And to do this, sometimes it's tricky, especially when you want to collect data within real stores with complex devices like an eye tracking system. And the third need that apparently is different is about product digitization. So everybody is already digitizing products for the e-commerce, for the catalogs, for everything, and they are doing pictures. They are taking pictures of their SKU, and usually they are using a normal shooting solution like this without any 3D option. So what we want to do is to enable retailers and brands to save time and cost, growing sales effectiveness. And to do this, we created different solutions. The first is about creating mock stores with the virtual reality. So the mock stores are replaced by a virtual reality simulation with the highest level of realism of both the store, so the environment, and the products. Every product in the simulation, for example, is handleable. You can simulate here also the shopping experience. The second solution is about analytics. So we created the back office of the simulation where we can collect many kind of KPIs, also adding neuroscience devices to the virtual reality headset. For example, we can add an eye tracking system that sometimes is built in, or we can add other neuroscience devices like the EEG or the galvanic skin response. The third solution is about product digitization in 3D. So Inversion is able to create beautiful digital twins that can be used not only within our virtual reality software, but also in other contexts like an AR or an e-commerce website. How we do it? We are working on a software as a service solution to create the standard virtual reality simulations. Our software is called SharedZone. It's based on three pillars. The first one is a web application from which you can design your store. The second part is a launcher that can download the virtual reality from an Unreal-based system on the cloud. And the third is again a web application to collect analytics and to analyze your KPI. I try to share the screen to show you very quickly a video, and I hope it will be useful. Sorry, I'm trying to use the platform. Yes, okay, here I am sharing. Can you see it?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. In this video, you can see our web application from which you can design your store. You can choose the products you want to arrange in a planogram. You can have your own planogram editor, or you can import from other software your planograms. And then once you're ready, you can create a package, which is a virtual reality executable file that you can download into a workstation and run it with several 6 degrees of freedom virtual reality headset. In this case, we are looking at a shopping experience with the HTC Vive wireless. Here, again, the last part of the experience with the analytics collected into the web application. So I come back to the presentation. Okay. So next, how can you use this software? You can use it with the headset and with a second screen. So normally we use a workstation with a double GPU, one for the VR headset and one for the second screen, and or you can use it with a joystick. So depending on your audience, you can use virtual reality as a tool to present what is happening within the simulation through an external screen, or you can ask people to enter the virtual reality, for example, for research purposes, or you can use a joystick to run the simulation. we are also adding multi-user and remote capabilities. So especially after the COVID emergency, we understood that the importance of having a multi-user capability within our solution. So by the end of this year, you will be able to connect remotely through different virtual reality rooms within the same environment. The quality of our digital twins is very high especially because of the insight part of our use cases. So when you need to have consumer research experience, you need quality. And our digital twins are also available for many platforms. So not only for Sheldon, but also for AR, web, etc., etc. We have also a patent, and we are working on a system which will be able to digitize very quickly, lowering the cost and the time of the product digitization, every kind of SKU, especially for the CPG market. After the COVID, we tried also to extend our shopping simulation to other verticals. For example, we are working with the fashion industry. Here is an example of a dynamic showrooms that we can design through our web application, adding products in different ways. Here is an example of a product displayed in two different positions. One is folded and the other one is hanged, depending on where you put the product through your editor. Of course, Sheldon now it's a B2B tool. Our free models can be used in many contexts, but in the future we see our technology perfect for the virtual reality commerce. So imagine a close future where virtual reality will be maybe streamed by the 5G to standalone devices. We imagine Sheldon as a platform to create a storefront for your e-commerce platforms. So imagine to do the shopping within the VR from your couch with an Oculus Quest or such a device. And that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Matteo. We have one question. I believe this is for you, and you touched on it a little bit, but feel free to expand. How can VR/AR help in analyzing consumer behavior in retail? Can it transform the traditional consumer research methods?
Yes, of course. We are working hard on this, and we are working with Ipsos, for example, globally, to create new standards in consumer research through the virtual reality. At the moment, you can use with the 6 degrees of freedom virtual reality, you can use a technology like ours to manage qualitative fields. So you ask 20, 40 people to enter a virtual reality environment, and you can simulate the whole shopping experience. We can also add the shopping cart so they can walk, they can handle products, they put them into the cart, and we can collect analytics during an interview that we can record for the whole session. So our platform then can let the researcher review every interview and adding heat maps and other kind of graphs and to clusterize also other kind of data within the videos and within the just a web page. So we are creating something which is special for qualitative research, but also with quantitative data. Another part of the research will be available soon, when we will be able to stream this kind of experience through the web, and at the moment we will be able also to deliver quantitative research, because we will be able to put people in front of a store just with a web browser.
Great, thanks, Matteo. Before we move on to Ashley, I want to circle back to a few questions that we have for Alan. Alan, the first one is, what type of 3D objects can the MetaVRse Engine import?
Sure. Right now we accept OBJs and FBXs. We will have support for USDZ and GLTF coming shortly, and the other formats that it accepts is PNG, JPEGs, and .mp4 movie files. We just added video, which will be pushed out to in the next sprint. So we do about 30-day sprints. Since we launched in June, we've launched 2 separate sprints, and the next one will have video included. And you'll also be able to have a full animation suite. So right now, all animations have to be pre-baked or pre-done in something like a Cinema 4D or a Blender or Maya, and then brought in and activated. But our new animation suite will allow you to animate the whole thing directly from the editor.
Okay, great. Follow-up question for you, or second question is, can your technology also be made available on glass technology like Google Glass or HoloLens?
Is this for MetaVRse?
MetaVRse, yes.
Yes. So right now it's 3D, so it'll work on anything. We don't have integrations built yet for any of the glasses. That is on a case-by-case basis. We're right now working with a large telco to integrate a set of AR glasses for upcoming launch. So the answer is yes, it can be done, and it works. You know, we've tested it, but the full integrations, because you got to test the hand tracking and all these things. So the full integrations are done, and they're on our roadmap. So if you go to metaverse.com, metavrse.com/features, we have all of our features listed, but at the very bottom of the page, just scroll to the bottom, is our roadmap. So you'll see where in time the features will be added, and that's updated about once a month. We go in there, we update that just to make sure that we're, because sometimes priorities change based on a client request.
Okay. And then one final question, Alan, is I think you answered this a little bit, but if you want to expand on it, are interactions carried over to AR view as well?
Yes, that is the magic sauce. So in order to do that, you can't simply use WebAR. It doesn't work. You can't really carry things through the way you would with ARKit and ARCore. So what we've done is we've created a framework called the One App Framework. And if you scan that QR code in any one of those experiences, you hit AR, you'll notice it'll take you to the App Store to download if you're on iOS or Android. And you download the app, but you only do it once. Once you have it on your phone or device, you never need it again. And it just kind of hides in the background. And so anytime you activate AR on any experience built by any customer, it will automatically go right into the AR and utilize the full power of ARCore and ARKit. So it automatically recognizes what device you're on. So if you're on the new iPad Pro, it uses LiDAR scanning to give you much better SLAM mapping. So we found a way to tap in from the web directly to ARKit and ARCore using our One App framework.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Matteo, one question for you just popped up. Are the VR experiences also accessible for consumers that don't have a headset/joystick on, i.e., a smartphone?
No, because we are focusing on 6 degrees of freedom virtual reality. Of course, we can also export our environment for example, in a 360 picture, so you can easily adjust a group of pictures within a 3 degrees of freedom experience that you can enjoy from your phone. But our focus is on the quality and is on the realism of the simulation. So we prefer to work with 6 degrees of freedom virtual reality headsets.
All right. Thanks, Matteo. Thank you, Ashley, for being patient. We'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks so much. So yeah, as I said, I'm Ashley Crowder. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ventana. I've been working in the 3D AR VR space for almost a decade, so I'm so excited for this watershed moment we're having. COVID's kind of forced us all to rethink about how we're doing things and work really closely with Alan at MetaVRse, and Matteo's product is really great. What all these products need, and we have some questions about it, are 3D models of your product. So that's kind of step one to start creating these amazing experiences, and that's where Ventana comes in. So we're the world's first automated 3D content management system to really make it a streamlined, easy process to get the 3D assets and the file types you need and easily distribute them everywhere that you need them. So we kind of went over this in the beginning. 3D shopping really does improve sales. Shopify has shown that there's a double lift in conversion rates online, 40% reduction in returns, which is massive. And if you take that one step further and use augmented reality to actually virtually place that object in your home, companies like Houzz saw consumers were 11 times more likely to make a purchase. That is huge. If you could 11x your revenue, you'd be having a really, really good year. IKEA is another proof point. You know, when they started doing the 3D and AR placement, they increased revenue by 30%. So why is everyone not doing this? The problem has been around getting these 3D assets. It's kind of been a bit of a digital mess. You need to get the 3D file to begin with, but people are trying to store this in existing content management systems that were designed for 2D. So you don't have kind of all the features you need to really keep track of all these file types and view them and know what you have. In addition, you need different file types for different things. As you've kind of heard, you know, depending on your level of understanding of 3D, FBX and OBJ, which is accepted for MetaVRse, those are pretty standard, and they can come from exported from a lot of different programs. However, you might have also heard him mention there's a polygon limit. So there's polygon limits and size limits that vary depending on what your different end use case is. And so unfortunately, what we've seen is companies start investing in 3D and they're recreating the same 3D file over and over again for all these different applications. That's what Ventana is here to stop. We're like, there's no point in creating 10 different versions of the same couch. Just upload one, and then we can convert and optimize and give you all the different things you need. Because people are having to recreate and re-optimize and do this, it's traditionally been a very manual process done by 3D artists. And so depending on the complexity of your product, it could take up to a week, and it could cost, you know, around $1,000, depending, again, is it a car, which is very complex, or, you know, a coffee pot that is less. This is where we're coming in. So we've created some automated software that actually understands the shape of your model, automatically optimizes it and converts it to all the different file types and specs that you need. And so this happens in less than a minute, significantly less time than the manual way. And we're a SaaS-based company, so it ends up being less than $4 per product per asset. Our clients include companies like Adidas that launch 25,000 products a year. Hugo Boss launches 40,000 products a year. So if you're thinking about spending a week of time per product, that quickly becomes unmanageable. So we really come in at companies that are trying to launch 3D at scale and need help quickly doing that. We fit into an existing design process. So we do start with existing 3D design files. So if you are an apparel company, you probably design in Browseware, Clo, or Optitext. We also take 3D scans, which can be a variety of different products. And then we also work with Maya and 3ds Max, which tends to be more furniture and kind of a bigger array of different products. Once you have that design file, you can actually simply upload it to the Ventana platform. And you can see this original manufacturing design is huge. You know, it's almost 200 megabytes. It's got millions of polygons, way too big for your website. It would crash, right? But you can simply upload this to the Ventana platform. The algorithms actually optimize and convert it and create a 3D web viewer with everything you need. So this final file is 3.5 megabytes. It's about 2% of that original size, but it still looks the same and looks great. And you have everything you need to share. Or you could use our API to pull these assets into all the other programs that you've heard about today. This is all housed in a centralized cloud-based content management system to make it easy to keep track of things. This has been really helpful, particularly for bigger global teams, to keep track and have everyone have access to the same asset. We were working with a company that had, you know, a team in the US, a team in India, a team in Europe, and they were tracking things through Excel spreadsheets and Dropbox links. It was a nightmare. And you can imagine how many times the wrong asset was published to the website because the team in the US didn't know the team in India had updated it and didn't get that, you know, Excel spreadsheet matching. In this, it's all based in the same place, and if you're pulling from the API, anybody makes a change, it automatically propagates that change wherever you're using that asset. And then, of course, we make it really easy for a link to copy and share the viewer. Our whole methodology is very much like Vimeo, makes it very easy to share and embed videos. We're doing the same thing with 3D. And the last piece is that we have partnerships across the e-commerce and advertising space. So if you have an e-commerce site on SAP Commerce Cloud, Shopify, or we just launched our partnership with Adobe Commerce Cloud, it's super easy to pull and integrate these 3D assets right onto your e-commerce site. We've also partnered with all the major advertising platforms. So you can actually advertise in 3D on Google, Facebook, Snapchat, in Unity today. You probably haven't seen many of those advertisements because getting these file types has been difficult because each of those ad platforms has a slightly different requirement. Again, that's where Ventana comes in. So we're automatically creating all the different versions you need. So I'll share my screen quickly. There we go. We made a Google ad for ourselves. So we're drinking our own Kool-Aid, if you will. Great. So this is our actual cloud platform. You can see I've got all these different products, and I can actually separate them by different clients as well. I opened up this Purse asset. So you can see we automatically created the embeddable iframe, or I can share this link. Or you could actually scan this QR code and actually view this on your phone and use AR to place it on your table if you'd like. The big magic sauce for us is down here. So this original file was almost 250,000 polys. Our software got it down to 49,000. Super easy to do versus that manual process. The original file is also 25 megabytes. We got it down to 7.8. So the whole idea is the smaller the asset, the faster it's going to load, but it still looks great, which is key. And then the same asset got exported to a Google ad. So this is actually an example of a Google 3D advertisement banner. So if you were to Google Hermes purse, this could be popping up. But this is just an example for people to see. So the one thing to take away from this is getting your 3D strategy right is so imperative. And you want to do it in a way that's scalable across your organization and have all the assets that you need in one place that your entire team can access, so you're not wasting time and money recreating these different things for all these different programs. I also brought another example if you'd like to scan this QR code. Everyone has, this is an AR VR talk, so we're all trying to be as interactive as possible. But thank you.
All right, thank you, Ashley. We do have a question for you. Do the iframes support web AR?
Yep, web AR is built in. So if you scan this QR code, you can actually test it out. So this is all web AR.
Okay. Another question for you. After generating a bump map to replace the surface detail.
Sorry, you broke up for a second.
Sorry, the question is, are you creating, after decimation, are you creating a bump map to replace the surface detail?
So it depends. So the way we've built our platform, we actually have multiple 3D pipelines on the back end. So one is a texture baking pipeline. In that case, yes, we are doing that, and that's worked really great for 3D scans. When we work with apparel design files like Browseware, Optitext, and Clo, we have a different 3D pipeline on the back end that does mesh decimation and then texture cropping and compression. That works really well. So you can think about it that we've created these different 3D pipelines depending on where your asset's coming from. So the way we work, if we start with a client, we ask you to send us 3 sample files of what you're working with, then we set you up with everything so it's plug and play for you.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, Ashley. And we've got Mike. Thank you, Mike. I'm glad you were able to join. I'll turn it over to you.
Yes. Hey, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
We could hear you perfectly.
Great. All right. I'm going to forward the slides. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. my name is Mike Festa. I am the CEO of 3XR. Hoping I can get this slide to go forward. There we go. All right, so, there we go. Hey, everybody. Glad to be here today. This is an area that I've been, passionate about for a while. Before starting 3XR, I was at Wayfair, created a team called Wayfair Next, which basically started bringing 3D content to the furniture space and to a lot of users. One of the challenges that we were finding, and you've heard from Ashley and others, is the content creation is often one of the big bottlenecks from going from a successful prototype where you've got great user metrics and engagement, but then you realize that you have 10 million products across your catalog, and how do you go from having a couple dozen sample models to digitizing your whole catalog? And it's going to take a village. It's going to take some time for people to get their content created. What we're trying to do at 3XR is, the simple analogy is Uber for 3D content. We want to make this easy for a distributed network of artists around the globe to create that initial content, especially for products that are coming not from CAD but are manufactured by hand or they're individually assembled, which is actually the case for a lot of furniture. I'm just going to advance my slide. There we go. And as the theme goes here, we've got some QR codes, so you guys can play along at home. Scan these codes, it'll pull up a 3D model. We're using WebAR, which has been, as you heard today, pretty much up and coming. It's the latest and greatest. It's available across billions of devices. It makes it really easy to share examples of the content that you have. So our main focus at 3XR is around the content creation. We also kind of, overlap a bit on the distribution side. You can see with QR codes, we can make it quick and simple and easy, but we're also not really doing the deep integrations, things you can get like on MetaVRse, where it's fully, interactive in a full environment. Our main focus today is on creating that core 3D model when you only have 2D images to start with. So if we look through, let's go to that next slide. There we go. Look through some of the production management features that we have today live on our platform. It's basically tracking, and this kind of comes from industry best practices over the last few years that we've figured out as far as where people are spending their time and what are the tools that are necessary to get content going from zero, where you've got some basic product information, all the way through where you do a full QA review, you get to preview it in different devices. We've got a 3D annotation that you can see on the right-hand side that makes it easy for a technical reviewer to go through and point out any issues. We actually broke up our QA process into 2 stages. There's one that happens internally in our network, basically with skilled artists that are peer reviewing each other's work to make sure that anything that goes in front of the client has any technical artifacts ironed out. We've found in the past that it can be difficult for the end customer to accurately describe with the same vocabulary as an artist, especially artists that are working across the globe, the same challenge. You might hear things from a customer that says, oh, it looks blurry, the color looks wrong, whereas a 3D artist can kind of say, like, you need to rescale and readjust your UV layout. The client doesn't speak the same language. So we found that there's value in breaking up that process so that we can get a really good, strong technical model in front of the customer at the last stage where they're ready to kind of review and approve it. They can check that in AR as well when they're going through the various tabs. And then, the great thing about having 3D content versus kind of traditional photography, let's say, is that the 3D asset's highly versatile. And again, like, our main focus isn't necessarily on the final integration in a device, but even within our platform, you can get a lot of value from that 3D content, such as generating imagery, automating 3D spins, integrating into various ad products like Google Swirl ads. And then we're working on integrations with other channels as we think about distribution systems and or final retail integrations. There are a lot of moving parts in the ecosystem, and so we feel that our kind of place in the channel is primarily on the content creation and then getting it to the right place where it's going to get used. We've got a web embedded viewer that again offers the kind of simple AR experience where customers can throw that on their website and measure engagement and see how the audience is kind of responding to their content. But yeah, this is basically the future of retail, as you've been hearing today, is leveraging 3D content to not only generate these AR experiences of the future, which we think will eventually, replace smartphones where you have glasses and 3D content becomes a requirement to even sell anything on this new medium. But you can also leverage that 3D content today in generating high-quality imagery, filling out that tray, even putting it into full render scenes where you can basically replace your photography, which was kind of one of the key things that the Wayfair was doing to, generate a lot of value from that initial investment in 3D content. And then one last, piece I'll mention is that I think we're going to see more of the SaaS-based pricing. That's something we've been working with at 3XR, is kind of breaking up the mindset of I need to make a huge investment up front where I'm paying hundreds of dollars per asset, and instead think about how you can get recurring value from each of those pieces of content and spread the content creation cost out over time by being part of a more recurring revenue process. So we can start with pilots, so we get customers up and running with a few dozen models so they can understand the process, see that it's working for them, and then as they're feeling confident that this is in fact driving sales and that the numbers aren't just marketing that you heard from a presentation like this or from other people, you can actually see your real world data growing your sales, then it'll make sense to invest in digitizing the remainder of your catalog once you see those results. So that's been kind of our strategy as far as understanding how customers get value from this. We're out there on the web. We've got a new podcast, so listen to our podcast, check out our website, connect with me or the company on LinkedIn. I look forward to, answering any questions that come in through here. But, I'm also pretty easy to get in touch with if you want to do a follow-up with me. So that's it. Thank you very much for everybody listening today, and viewers who are tuning in later. Again, get in touch with me through this, and we'll be sure to answer any of your questions. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Mike. All right. Well, if you have any questions, again, feel free to type it into the chat window. But next comes my favorite part, which is where we get the panel's thoughts on where VR and AR is going, particularly for retail. But before we move into that, there are a few questions that I want to kind of clear out here. And we've got one for Matteo. Do you sell a library of your already digitized SKUs?
No, we don't have a model to sell a whole library of SKUs, but we can, of course, resell part of our SKUs. For example, when we are working with a new brand, we have to digitize their products, but if they want to add on a planogram also their competitors' products, we can resell that product if we have already in our library. We don't have an offer for the whole library, but on demand we can resell our content.
All right. And then we've got another one for Alan at MetaVRse. Does MetaVRse have native capabilities for enterprise system integration, for example, authorization integration with SAP, Salesforce, etc.? That's the first part of that question. Second part is it only to be used on web browser, or it can be used in head-mounted device?
Okay, so first question, we'll deal with integrations, and I'm actually going to share my screen again. One of our customers, Sakar Kada from Oracle, let me just share my screen quickly here. Click, click, click. Share. Okay. So on the first question, can it be combined with things like SAP or Oracle's business intelligence tools? So here's an article. It's on our website as well. You can just go on our website and type Oracle. How Oracle's XR Lab uses MetaVRse Engine for e-commerce and IoT. And what you're seeing here, and I'll just play the video quick, is Sakar has taken our platform, because it's web-based and it has JavaScript in the background, it's completely open in the web. He's now been able to connect that directly to their business intelligence tools. So, for example, that red person was on the left. Now they're going to do a test, real time. Does it make a difference? Is the conversion different if we put it on the right? And because it's so easy to do this, they can do that. And he connected it directly into their Maximizer program. Now, he took it one step further and said, okay, the Nike shoe, we can start to do real-time analytics. And I mentioned this earlier, but here's an actual video of it happening. So as people click, these clicks are recorded inside the Oracle Infinity thing. So this is all done through the web. So if it's a web-based system, then yes. Now the other part of that question is, can we integrate this into existing hosting. So our system was designed to provide hosting as well. So, for example, if out of the box, we can do all the hosting, and what we can also do is build it on premises for our clients. So if you have a customer, or you are a customer that you want to build this completely on your own tech stack, we can give you the code, and you can have the entire editor suite on your own tech stack. Here's one last thing here. The car also connected a Bluetooth IoT sensor with a gyroscope and magnometer, and he was able to control the 3D aspect directly from this sensor. So really, really interesting stuff that people are doing. This is completely outside of what we had thought of at the beginning. So again, because it's so open, because it's using JavaScript, and I'll just show you quickly if you can still see my screen here. The way we do JavaScript is something simple. So, for example, everything's got this little code button here, and I'm actually going to delete this piece of code so you don't see it. On the left-hand side, you can actually add code. Simply add a JavaScript code here. You can right-click it, edit it, and JavaScript window pulls up directly in your editor. Now, I don't know JavaScript, so I'm going to close that because it scares me. I can just now take this, and what we call this is visual drag and drop code snippets. So I can drag and drop that. It gives me some options, and from there I can add a configuration, and this is my configuration to blue. I can drag that over here into configurations, and now when I go in preview and I click this, it'll turn it blue because that's the configuration we set on it. So that was as easy as it is to add code to or functionality to a button. I hope that answers the question. What was the second question? I apologize.
Yeah, the second question was, is it only to be used on web browser, or can it be used in a head-mounted device?
Sure. So right now it can be used in a web browser and accessed directly. So the whole idea is that it's accessed directly from the web browser, whether you're on a head-mounted device or a phone or whatever, you access it from the browser. Now, like I mentioned earlier, we haven't integrated the VR and MR. That's coming in Q4 this year. But you'll be able to click this button. It will create a piece of code. You can create an app. Let's say, for example, you're using the Oculus Quest. You can access it from an app built into the Oculus Quest, or you can access it from the browser. It'll automatically open the one app and allow you to have the full. So you can surf around as if you're normally surfing a website, click a link, and now you're inside the experience. Very similar to what Mozilla was doing with WebXR. Very, very similar experience. You just kind of dive right into it. But that the full support for headsets and glasses won't come until at least Q4 this year. Yeah, there's about 500 times more devices that are in everybody's hands already, computers, tablets, and mobile devices, as compared to head-worn devices. So there's about 500 times more. So we're really focusing on the mass market right now.